Gentlemen, my friends, fellow compatriots, fellow humans from across the planet. I am Nikhil Parekh. In this video, I shall be talking about my book titled The Power of Black. Poems on Humanity, Social Cause, Poverty, Women Empowerment, Volume 1, as well as giving you a recitation of different poems from this book of mine. So friends, let me commence with an introduction to this book of mine. This book, which has 50 differently titled poems, is actually volume 1 of the book titled The Power of Black. Poems on Humanity, Social Cause, Poverty, Women Empowerment, 400 pages. Prologue. The book cardinally aims to end the negative perception and energies associated with the color black and the underprivileged sections of the society. Many at different times, the utmost exhilaration spawns from a person's disability, as her desire to achieve the impossible is several times heightened than the normal counterpart. The magical essence of black has been epitomized to the hilt in every poetic stanza that follows to lead to a trail of unassailable victory. Dedicated to. This collection of poems is endlessly dedicated to the power of the color black. Black, which in common parlance is perceived to be negative and a disability to continue the chapters of life. But this very black, which has been described as the most powerful color for survival on earth, the most magical fragrance of every entity's soul, which continues to infatuate even beyond the dormitories of heaven and hell. Acknowledgements. I, Nikhil Parekh, am truly grateful. I, Nikhil Parekh, am truly grateful to every bit of blackness enshrouding me, which has made me a magician to express the innermost realms of my soul into poetic verse on blank paper. Into poetic verse on blank paper. Black is beautiful. Black triumphs still beyond eternity. Black is the most inscrutably tantalizing fabric of existence. God bless black. God bless black. About the poetry book. The poet has genuinely believed that even the most inexplicable of sorrow can be projected as well as alleviated via the power of magical poetry. Wondrously implementing the same in this soothing compendium of poems, Parekh brings to the fore various evils lingering in the society and tries to cure them, offering the balm of poetry. The poems contained within are starkly explicit and poignantly debate on various global social causes like female feticide, blindness, smoking, molestation, adopting the girl child, HIV, AIDS, discrimination, etc. In a battle of adroit analogies, the poet emphatically portrays even the tiniest of social evil and urges mankind to rise above the same. Poetically, he tries to unite hearts all across the universe in the spirit of love, oneness and compassion, to give birth to a renaissance against evil and unjustness. This victorious concoction of poems would appeal to all those who have so selflessly fought for a social cause and to uproot evil forever from the fabric of society. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I shall be giving you a recitation of 4 different poems from this book of mine. These different poems are titled as Black for the Blind, AIDS Doesn't Kill, Your Attitude Kills, poem on blood donation, donating blood means loving it all the more, and food and its unbelievable power. Of course, at any juncture of victorious existence, you can purchase this book of mine from Amazon.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled Black for the Blind. Black for the blind is the most unassailable form of survival, a color which epitomizes even the most infinitesimal aspect of their lives to the most handsomely unprecedented limits. Black for the blind is the most bewitching form of beauty, a color which sensuously enshrouds even the most obfuscated of their nerves with the most supremely tantalizing enigmas of life. Black for the blind is the only sun of insuperable optimism, a color which forever paints the canvas of their haplessly barren life with perennially untamed forests of desire. Black for the blind is the most blessing universe of infinite infinity, a color which quintessentially constitutes every tangible and intangible moment of their inexplicably quavering lives. Black for the blind is the most tastiest form of food and water, a color which equally crucifies and mitigates them in even the most drearily slavering sphere of their lives. Black for the blind is the most ecstatically unfettered form of meditation, a color which forever liberates them of even the most ghastliest of their misery and unlimited pain. Black for the blind is the only perception of unending pricelessness, a color which infallibly clings to even the most oblivious of their contours, irrespective of their caste, creed, religion, and tribe. Black for the blind is the most ultimate source of entertainment, a color which engenders them to wonderfully replenish every crevice of their misery, with magically unparalleled exaltation. Black for the blind is the only word that culminates into the entire dictionary, a color which most omnipotently defines even the most evanescent activity of their ardent lives. Black for the blind is the most invincible scent of righteousness, a color which transcends the goriest trace of devil, with a passionate atmosphere of unconquerable, ubiquitous oneness. Black for the blind is a fearlessly everlasting celebration, a color which even the greatest of warriors tremble to tread into, whereas with them it remained as rejoicingly during life as after the final insinuations of breath. As rejoicingly during life as after the final insinuations of breath. Black for the blind is where the most royally blossoming prosperity begins and ends, a color into which the best of gold, silver, and happiness metamorphoses into a color into which the best of gold, silver, and happiness metamorphoses into since the very first cry of euphoric life. Black for the blind is the only omnipresent God. Black for the blind is the only omnipresent God, an invincible form, a divinely color, an undefeated shape, an unshakable power, which perennially rules even the most cloistered ounce of this universe at its peerless fingertips. Black for the blind is most gloriously rejuvenating elixir, an inebriating color which reaches the most tantalizingly seductive crescendo and infinite times in just one singular lifetime. Black for the blind is the most undyingly subliming warrior, a color which reigns perpetually supreme over every innuendo of even the most dramatic victory and defeat. Black for the blind is the most benign cradle of infanthood, youth, adulthood, and old age. A color which indelibly refuses to leave them for even an infidel moment in their entire lifetime. Black for the blind is an inborn spirit of irrefutable worship. Black for the blind is an inborn spirit of irrefutable worship, a color which requires not the slightest of hymns, prayers, or venerated water to timelessly consecrate it. Black for the blind is the most omniscient jewel of the eye. A color which indefatigably stretches beyond sleep and awakening into a paradise of the unparalleled Creator Divine. Black for the blind is the most blessed mantra of life, a color which was the sole reflection of their heart, soul and conscience. A color which was the sole reflection of their heart, soul and conscience. A color which wholesomely and indefinitely overpowers the color of their blood and breath too. A color which wholesomely and indefinitely overpowers the color of their blood and breath too. Oh yes, black for the blind is the most unassailable soulmate of survival and beyond. A color to which they are immortally married right since the very first whisper of life, irrespective of whether the planet outside complied with or brutally denied. Oh yes, black for the blind is the most unassailable soulmate of survival and beyond. A color to which they are immortally married right since the very first whisper of life, irrespective of whether the planet outside complied with or brutally denied. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled AIDS Doesn't Kill, Your Attitude Kills. So here is a recitation of my poem from this book of mine. Compassionately shaking hands with them won't in any way enshroud every ingredient of your blood with the most unforgivably cancerous of disease. Won't in any way annihilate you forever and ever from the trajectory of this fathomless universe. Profusely intermingling your shadow with theirs won't in any way diminish you beyond the threshold of disparagingly dolorous oblivion. Won't in any way obfuscate your integrity won't in any way obfuscate your integrity with the clouds of tawdry salaciousness. Tirelessly talking with them won't in any way make you the most delinquently inferior organism on this boundless earth, won't in any way char your inimitably distinctive identity. Amiably kissing them on their rubicund lips won't in any way evaporate every ounce of immunity from your body, won't in any way transform you into the most treacherously cursed entity alive. Uninhibitedly fondling their silken hair, won't in any way jinx you with even the most infinitesimal parasite on this limitless earth, won't in any way trounce you to your dolorously fetid grave, mischievously nibbling at their innocuous ears, won't in any way numb each of your senses to even the tiniest trace of sound, won't in any way engulf each brilliant day of yours with hopelessly asphyxiating blackness. Jubilantly adventuring with them in the inscrutable forests, won't in any way sap you of untamed powerhouse of effulgent energy, won't in any way make you an important pinch of mud, fretting for an infinite lifetimes, profoundly staring into the whites of their impeccable eyes, won't in any way blind you forever from every conceivable iota of pleasure and panoramic light, won't in any way pulverize you into inanely impoverished nothingness. Eclectically sketching their harmlessly nimble silhouette, won't in any way vengefully deteriorate you into a pool of insipid nothingness, won't in any way render you as the most ignominiously slandered artist alive, holistically eating with them in the same bowl, won't in any way metamorphose you into an ocean of endlessly lambasting tears, won't in any way inundate the walls of your stomach with venomously aggrieved poison rather than the celestial fruits of the Creator Divine, unflinchingly entwining your fingers into theirs, won't in any way horrendously deplete you of every ounce of your strength, won't in any way impede you from symbiotically coalescing with the rest of eternally fructifying living kind, sleeping impregnably close to them to shelter them at night, won't in any way grant you a place in the most vindictively unsparing of hell, won't in any way prematurely bury you a countless feet beneath your veritable grave, flirtatiously tickling their nubile skin, won't in any way hang you upside down in the most brilliantly blazing of sunlight, won't in any way seal every other synergistically untainted option for you in the chapter of resplendent life, wholeheartedly embracing them as one of your own kin, won't in any way perpetuate in you the germs of the most ominously tyrannical of disease, won't in any way render you satanically crippled for the remainder of your life, affably conserving each droplet of their golden sweat in your palms, won't in any way erase the spellbinding destiny lines of your existence, won't in any way proclaim you as a preposterously shameful misfit, won't in any way proclaim you as a preposterously shameful misfit for the fabric of society. Altruistically applying the balm of humanity on their inexplicable wounds, won't in any way assassinate every bit of harmonious knowledge that you had so wonderfully assimilated since the first cry of birth, won't in any way torment you even after you died, won't in any way torment you even after you died, uninhibitedly drinking water from their unfinished glass, won't in any way transform every ingredient of your omnipotent blood into unbearably vindictive venom, won't in any way truculently slain the royal seeds of virility from your endowed life, unceasingly enlightening them with the magical artistry in your persona, won't in any way endanger even the most diminutive shade of existence on the perennial planet, won't in any way transform you into a sinful eunuch, wailing the last words of your life, unassailably blending every breath of yours with theirs, won't in any way defeat you the slightest in any philanthropic quest of your blessed life, won't in any way abruptly snap the fangs of your miraculously proliferating existence, immortally bonding every beat of your heart with theirs, won't in any way make you the most abhorred criminal of this globe, won't in any way metamorphose every definition of true love into sadistically betraying hatred. Paradoxically, whereas doing all the above things with them won't in any way harm you the tiniest. Paradoxically, whereas doing all the above things with them won't in any way harm you the tiniest. But their not receiving the same from you would definitely make them die the most ghastliest of death. A death which would not be a result of their suffering from HIV/AIDS, but an extinction which would be the most horrifically gruesome. A death which would be the most perpetually criminal, caused due to opprobrious disdain and neglect by you and only you, who was none other than their uncaring fellow humankind. But their not receiving the same from you would definitely make them die the most ghastliest of death. A death which would not be a result of their suffering from HIV/AIDS, but an extinction which would be the most horrifically gruesome. A death which would be the most perpetually criminal, caused due to opprobrious disdain and neglect by you and only you, who was none other than their uncaring fellow humankind. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled Poem on Blood Donation. Donating blood means loving it all the more. So here it is, a recitation of my poem from this book of mine. I presumed you loved it, as it was your spirit to successfully accomplish your every philanthropic mission with the blessings of the omnipotent Lord Almighty. With the blessings of the omnipotent Lord Almighty. I presumed you loved it, as it most ecstatically charged you up as you leapt forward to uninhibitedly blossom in the garden of vibrantly bestowed life. I presumed you loved it, as it was your human lifeline to melange so serenely with your surroundings, become a quintessential constituent in the atmosphere of symbiotic camaraderie. I presumed you loved it, since it was your amiable stamp amongst all mortals. As you traversed shoulder to shoulder with every of your fellow human, blessed with the fundamental principles of existence. I presumed you loved it, since it taught you the value of priceless life, inspired you to live life to its very fullest, and endeavor your earnest best to afford the same to your fellow beings in duress. I presumed you loved it, as it evoked the artist in you to burgeon in realms of unfettered sensuousness. As you assimilated your creative potential from slim space before sharing it with the outside world, I presumed you loved it, as it added that extra ounce of zeal in your step, as you embarked upon every adventure that you were passionate about, in a life unpredictably mystical but blessed. I presumed you loved it, since it transcended you above all barriers of caste, creed, religion, and color, to bond with the religion of oneness, and humanity. I presumed you loved it, as it magnetically drew you closer to your soulmates in life, reminding you that chapters of life bore royal fruition when confronted with true love. I presumed you loved it, as it revitalized your complexion and countenance to appear as that of a handsome human, prone to all that was further destined, but resiliently following the path of truth. I presumed you loved it, as though silent, it triggered an inferno of universal desire in your nimble silhouette, as you evolved your virile kin and family further on this infallibly flawless universe. I presumed you loved it, as it helped you coin a new definition of compassionate companionship, one that accepted one and all for what they were, and as they had come into God's planet divine. I presumed you loved it, as its healing balm empowered you to start afresh after every of your humanly trip and fall. Let the blazingly omnipotent rays of the Sun God, energize you towards your righteously benevolent mission in life. I presumed you loved it, as it fortified your bond of togetherness. Not only with your biological kin, but with your environment and with every living being in harmonious friendship. I presumed you loved it, as it gave you the strength to never betray your own conscience, and irrespective of wherever you were and whatever you did, you were answerable to omnipresent God. I presumed you loved it, as it led you through astounding myriad colors of a poignant survival, which all eventually amalgamated and united into a rainbow of altruistic caring. I presumed you loved it, as it gradually and very moderately transformed you into a blissful adult, from a diminutive infant, in perfect accordance with the winds of creation bestowed upon by the omniscient Creator. In perfect accordance with the winds of creation bestowed upon by the omniscient Creator. I presumed you loved it, as you honestly paved your path through the multifarious replenishing fields and shades of existence, being just nothing in front of the unassailable Lord. Being just nothing in front of the unassailable Lord. And I am definitely sure that you would love your blood all the more if you donated it to all those in dire need of it, thereby giving true meaning to the essence of humanitarian unity and human oneness. And I am definitely sure that you would love your blood all the more if you donated it to all those in dire need of it, thereby giving true meaning to the essence of humanitarian unity and human oneness. For the chapters of life and death are in God's hands. But donating blood is just one great humanitarian way in which you could help your blessed fellow living being. For the chapters of life and death are in God's hands. But donating blood is just one great humanitarian way in which you could help your blessed fellow living being. Ladies and gentlemen, I shall now give you a recitation of my poem titled "Food and Its Unbelievable Power." So here is the recitation of this poem of mine from this book of mine. It made a person irrefutably realize her true stature on this earth, which was nothing in front of the Almighty Lord, which was nothing in front of the Almighty Lord, as morsels were gobbled with raw humanitarian fervor, and then even the most mature of body exultated in childlike delight. It made people forget deplorably miserly discrepancies of caste, creed, color, and religion over its tantalizingly sumptuous aroma. It naturally impregnated a wretchedly war-infested environment with the charm of an existence replete with symbiotic health and prosperity. It gathered hordes of hungry stomachs and palates into uninhibited camaraderie as they sat in compassionate unity to devour its quintessential morsels for survival. It melted even the most indiscriminately traumatic persona which lambasted the innocent with its succulently impeccable taste, which was a harbinger of bountiful humanity. It fascinated the young and the old. With its astounding freshness and vitality, which very soon blended with the fabric of existence after the gratifying bite. It put all hostility and that desire to ruthlessly conquer to blissful sleep. It put all hostility and that desire to ruthlessly conquer to blissful sleep as it made its way most naturally and ravishingly into the extraordinarily emaciated intestine. It proved the most stupendously inadvertent excuse to meet up at just about any time of the day, and that too triggering that smile of satisfaction upon the lips relishing it. It reinvigorated fading muscle and bone with indispensable boost to lead life king size. Bond and embrace the most alien of neighbor with the power of fortuitous love. Fortuitous love. It metamorphosed pulverized failures into the champions of a fresh optimistic dawn, rendering in them the unabashed fortitude to stand up for the cause of unparalleled righteousness. It rekindled the rays of desire in pathetically shriveled bloodstreams, as the living kind made merry, whispered, chatted, and blended into the river of love with a newfound hope to procreate. It worked as a balm of compassionate friendship upon those haplessly aggrieved and lamenting the loss of their near and dear, as the chapter of death inevitably occurred when destined. It was something that rendered all spurious demonstrations of power and wealth on earth utterly useless, as even the richest of all humans melanched with those begging on the roadside, as even the richest of all humans melanched with those begging on the roadside to consume it as disasters like the earthquake struck. It not only helped people earn livelihood as they cooked, garnished, packed, and transported it, but added an indomitable aura of satisfaction to their lives as they served it to all those in dire need of it. It miraculously helped in mollifying the most hoarsely wailing children, nourishing them with the gift of harmony, to evolve into the philanthropically noble citizens of tomorrow. It prompted dialogues of peace and benevolent betterment. Even before armies could cross sides, as they preferred to arrive to a harmonious consensus of love and togetherness after eating to their unbridled content. It was a universal need that naturally arose at some time or the other in everyone, irrespective of any religion or tribe. It was a universal need that naturally arose at some time or the other in everyone, irrespective of any religion or tribe, impregnably indicating that we are all created by the same God and in front of Him nothing. Impregnably indicating that we are all created by the same God and in front of Him nothing. It cultivated this most wonderfully altruistic habit of eating in the same plate, as its irresistibly appetizing grandeur instilled the basic tenets of selflessness and humanitarian care. Such was food and its unbelievable power. Ladies and gentlemen, my fellow humans, my friends, compatriots from across the planet, it truly was an undisputed privilege for me to have given a recitation of this poetry of mine to your impeccably exuberant jurisdiction. From the innermost realm of my heart, I wanted to express my gratitude to you for having so gloriously patronized my poetry. Of course, at any juncture of victoriously mesmerizing existence, you can purchase this book of mine from Amazon.com. Thank you for listening to me.